It's a non-invasive NIV, right? So it's non-invasive ventilation. What does that mean? That we're not putting a tube in anyone and connecting it to the circuit for the vent, right? This way, it's done through a mask or a full face mask. They have a total face mask, the full face mask, and then the nasal mask. Okay, so this is just like for the nose, and they're all strapped because once you start with the non-invasive, you're going to have what they call NPPV, non-invasive positive pressure ventilation. So it's going to build up pressure, so you want to secure the mask. There's going to be some leak, and I'll show you on the machine, but there's a range that's acceptable, okay? So how would you measure for the mannequin is, or your patient? Is you're going to get a template like this, and so you want to basically over the bridge of the nose here and the chin, you know, so that's fine, or however you have different size faces, medium and then
Medium
small.
would be good.
Right, so for this patient, I think medium would be good.
So it doesn't go all the way to the chin, it just goes right under the lip.
Right.
Right
Yeah.
above the...
Correct, right here,
above.
you can see it?
Okay.
So it's just below the lip, so, I mean, this one's good, same one we use it. So you always have a template, and based on the template, you'll know which mask to choose. The size is also on them. Like for this one, let's say medium. So you'll have, this one is small, right? Also, for the interface, and we'll show you on this when we hook it up, this letter, like the one, the interface, you got to make sure what's on here, it's chosen on the machine as well, because it helps with the leak and the exhalation valve. All right. So use your template, measure the patient or the mannequin, decide the size. The trickiest part when we were doing this was just, let me try this one fast. You have to secure the straps. You guys did this with Kim
No.
last semester?
Nope.
Right? No.
We
You
didn't
just
do
did
any of
trachea.
this. Yeah, just
Right, just
trachea.
trachea. Okay.
And intubation.
An intubation, okay. Well, gather around, I'll show you. So, just for instance, this is too small, but we wouldn't use this on a mannequin because of the size, but these straps are probably the ones that's less knotted. So how this works is you can adjust, there's several things you're going to be able to adjust. You're going to adjust the Velcro straps. You're going to adjust this, which is the nose bridge support. What this does is it helps to get pressure off of the right.
Spreads the pressure around.
Exactly. Because we want sufficient leak within the range, but we don't want too much pressure. Why? Because it's going to lead to what? Skin breakdown, skin integrity,
yeah.
pressure ulcer. Right.
Pressure also.
Exactly. So you don't want to put too much when you're
And
too much.
these are they can be they're conscious patients.
Yeah.
This is generally is this generally for BiPAP or CPAP?
BiPAP or CPAP, correct. Yeah, it's just that. So the trick with this is to secure the mask. Let's just get the medium. I will just do it with the medium. So because the interface of the mask with the patient is very important. So you want to, when you're eventually going to have your skills check out. So the medium is the best one, yeah. You're going to want to time, right? Because when you do your skills check out and you're
These are timed events.
well, you're going to have a certain amount of time to do it, yeah. And so you definitely want to master getting the mask on comfortably and efficiently, you know?
What's the best position to put them on? Easiest, I would say, I guess.
Well, the easiest, you just have to practice. Always start with make sure the straps are ready to go, you know, and even. They're not bunched up like now. And so.
I think side to the side first and then head next. Would be good.
I remember how I did it when I was doing my skills checkout. It was just, I started with the straps at the top here.
Yeah, that's right.
And so what I did was, you could just loosen these right here. This is old, you can see, but you want to make sure that get the head on, and then
It's just the
just
toughest
get
part,
just
the head.
yeah bring
With
this
the
on there,
hair.
and let's get this. And so once you catch one side, you know what I'm saying, you can catch the other side, and that helps with the leak as well, because when you're adjusting for the leak, you just do both. Okay, if you do one at a time, your mask is gonna get lopsided. So just as a hint, I found if you need more to loosen it, do both and loosen it and then come down, so you have that uniformity on left and right. And if there was too much leaking or too little leak or too much leak and you need to close it up a little bit, you can come down evenly on both sides. You know, instead of like doing one and then it's lopsided. Let me show you how. She wanted me to show you how to hook this up. So this is the Respironic V60. This is primarily what you're going to use in the lab. And this uses a gas source, just oxygen, all right, because it has a compressor inside for air. So if they're gonna supplement their worker breathing, they would use the air. If they're supplementing, we're gonna augment their FiO2, then we're gonna use the oxygen, which is a green hose, which is not here, right? So. There you go. All right. You want to hook it?
And what is this device called again?
This is the V60.
V60?
Yeah, it's for
Okay.
CPAP BiPAP. All right, good. So, single circuit, you know, on the other vents that you're going to see, there's two circuits, inhalation and exhalation lag. This is just for inhalation because the exhalation is a exhalation port, right? And so, so you can put a filter here. You know, but now COVID, everyone, they want the exhalation air to be filtered as well. This is also a filter. So, and then the pressure tubing right here, and this will interface with your mask, or for the, I guess for purposes of the lab, it's gonna connect,
Just,
right?
yeah,
For the test lung. Hold on. I don't think this test lung is
that's for the treatment. This one.
This one is for the treatment, yeah. So if you're doing nebulizer treatment on here, this is gonna continue, and then you'll connect your neb here. You know about that, right, you guys? Okay, good. So for treatment interface. All right, your test lung, and it's all on the paper because when are you gonna read it, and then you guys are gonna do it. Well, anyway, this is basically how you set it up.
You can
For
put a Fisher pipe.
Fisher pipe valve for heated humidifier here, and then you plug it in, and it will come on, and we'll do that when you guys set it up. We'll do the interface. All right. All right. And then these are your alarms. These are your settings, your alarms, the modes, different modes. CPAP, continuous positive airway pressure. ST, which is spontaneous time, and the batch PCV, basically meaning that you could put in a lot of settings once, like you're doing a batch of cookies. It's all the same, but it's so you can do batch. AVAPs is something else you learn later on. Okay, good. Remember I was telling you about the mask port? See, that's the symbol right there. That's the other one. So whenever mask you're using, exactly, you want to make sure it matches. This is what I was telling you. So the machine will read the right, you know, leak and all of that. All right. And alarm settings, which we'll go over. And for this, we're going to use the mode is SP. Alright, so we're doing IPAP over EPAP. You guys know what that is?
Inspiratory positive airway pressure.
Inspiratory positive airway pressure. So IPAP is like, it helps with worker breathing. It's like your ventilation. Alright, so it works at rate. The EPAP, anyone knows what that is, EPAP? Okay, that's it. There you go. Expiratory positive airway pressure. So this acts as like PEEP. you know, PPEP? Right, for oxygenation.
This would be like a BiPAP center?
Yeah, for BiPAP. So the EPAP is your oxygenation center. So this EPAP helps with oxygenation, like PEEP, and IPAP helps with ventilation. All right? And you know the difference between them is the delta P.
So the difference between CPAP and BiPAP is
No, well, CPAP is
it's the same pressure the whole time,
right,
and
continuous.
then BiPAP is there's
Two
a
different pressures,
pressure
right?
for
Inspiratory
inspiration
and expiratory, exactly. So they call it bivent, or
How do they determine those pressures?
based on worker breathing and oxygenation, if they're getting good gas exchange. So ABGs, you want to check your ABGs, see, you know, oxygenation. And then you have your I time, inspiratory time, your rise, and your O2. You can set that as well. Now, if you're running just O2 at 21, you don't need to, obviously you're not going to need to, it's still going to hook up to oxygen, but this is room air. You know what I'm saying? But if you're running an O2, FiO2 of say 40, are you going to need the oxygen? Yes. Okay, because it's going to help with the FiO2. All right? And, all right, well, let's just go ahead and go standby. Hold on. Let me see.
No, you still can.
Also, when you put on the mask, always start the vent first. That's going to be a thing. She has a pet beef with that. Start the machine first, right? Get it set up and then attach it to the patient. Because if your patient's in respiratory distress and you're going to hook up the machine and then set it, what's happening to him? You know what I'm saying? He's got this thing on his face, or
Struggling.
right? He's struggling, and you're doing this. So always set up everything first.
They just get claustrophobic, especially in the
Correct.
face.
Have it going, like, you know, have it going, and then put it on the patient. All
And
right?
explain to them
What you're doing.
what the hell it's for.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't like stuff on their face, and they might fight you at first. So you always have to explain to your patient to make them more
Confused or
comfortable.
drugged up or something, they might fight you.
Exactly.
So do we as respiratory,
So maybe you wouldn't give them 12, maybe you give them like 14 or 16. You understand? Because it's helping with ventilation. So it's helping them. It's reducing their work of breathing, so your patient no fatigue. Because remember, IPAP is for ventilation, and EPAP is for oxygenation.
What is the patient trigger?
The patient trigger is at 80%. Is basically how much percentage of the breath when they trigger the machine to give them a breath.
Oh, how sensitive you
Yes,
mean? Kind
right.
of like a sensor?
And this is inspiratory time over total time cycle. So right now the inspiratory time is like 30%. So it's all explained in there, yeah, in your handout.
down here it says, what are the purpose of these icons?
Okay, well this
Try to
basically.
play with it.
Yeah, you guys play with it.
Click.
Oh wow,
You
that's
see?
big.
So you see it's widening the parameters, the numbers. You put 1, 2, 3, and then
And then you could widen up the
Right.
wave.
widen, and then you could, you know. So this is basically what it is for.
You could pause
You
it.
can pause it.
just to see.
See? So, and then you can move it. So if you wanted to get the high, what's the peak? Well, the highest is 12.1 right there, because you moved it. You know what I'm saying? So okay, for this one, let's move it over. And what's the peak here? 21.5. Is it? Stuff like that. And then you just.
You could-
Wait, so that pauses it and
Yeah.
this just makes it wider?
Yeah, the scalar, yeah. You see how it's from 1 to 12 now? And then it can go 3 to 24. So it makes it more concise or broader.
To increase the scale.
Yeah, it is the scale.
And this one, this.
And this one is for the scales on the y-axis, and this is the scalar on the x-axis.
Okay.
All right, and you can just pause it. And that's it. It's faster. It will be that
It'll come
one.
up orange when this reads for
Yeah,
the patient's
this will
breathing.
change.
It'll be
Yeah, timed. So that's timed
It would be
because it went
teal
active.
color.
So it's teal when it's spontaneous, and if it's the backup, it goes orange.
What is it talking about? Rise? Is that chest
Rise
rise?
and how to.
Chat is how fast it gives the air, isn't it?
Yeah.
So rise. So if we look
I
from
think we're
EPAP,
supposed to answer all these questions
Yeah, you-
before we start.
you see the rise.
Rise
Look,
and
if it's shorter, it's more abrupt. You see how vertical it becomes because it's short. It's a less time. So the rise is fast because it's like shoot. When it becomes more slanted, it takes more time. So let's go to 3 or 4. See? Because it's
More of a
instead of the
slope
it's,
up.
yeah, it's more of a slope, more gradual. So this would be more comfortable for a patient than maybe this, which is just like a fast puff of air. That's
But that's like if they're really having trouble breathing, you need
right,
to
right, you need to
fast.
exactly. All right. All right. So you guys go ahead.